bien, moi j'ai pas de retour, mais tout va bien. Alors, je voulais commencer par vous raconter une petite anecdote avant d'enchaîner sur le financement participatif.
Before talking about crowdfunding, when one arrives here to be a speaker, has a coach called Kurka who's there to help us, and we've gone through my PowerPoint presentation, and she was not really impressed and says that doesn't bring anything, and said, let's skip it. No PowerPoint presentation. And then she said, be careful because the tone of your voice is so low and you don't smile and you sound very arrogant in those ways. Now, if I speak too fast and I don't smile, please wave at me and smile so that I won't look so arrogant. Since my PowerPoint presentation has been put in the waste bin, since I want to show you that crowdfunding has existed for a long time, I've brought with me some evidence that crowdfunding has been there for ages. My name is Noah, and I have a great federating project, a boat to save all animals. I'm a bit in a difficult problem. I need 5,000 euros to finish. That's okay for the jury fees. What about this one? What about the corkscrew? We won't put them, no room for them. Then he had a problem with the color and all this logistics problem. Now, how am I going to do? And when he's angry, he's really angry. He up there. I think that our relations have really declined over the years. Why are you raining so much? Why not put the dinosaurs on the arch? And now he wouldn't answer. I need 5,000 euros to finish the arch. And I'm counting on you just as he does. And then there is a return. If you give 50 euros, then you have a very nice picture of me that is signed. And if you give 5,000 euros, we give your name to the arch. Now, being in the Bible really is great. I would pay millions to be in the Bible. I'm already in there. I would pay a huge amount of money to be in the Bible. Think about it, Robert. Well, try and not read my written notes. So I'll be working on the stage. So we're here to talk about participatory funding. My name is Vincent Ricordeau. I'm the co-founder of KissKissBankBank, which is one of the leaders in Europe. We're present in France and in the UK. Soon, many other European designers will have the opportunity to put their project on our platform in Portuguese, Dutch, Spanish, and German by the end of the year. Now, what is crowdfunding platform? It is dedicated to all creators of all kinds who would like to have their projects directly funded by the public. It sounds crazy, but people like you and me can present their project, whether you're a professional or an amateur, and you and I will be funding this. It's fairly simple and it's free. You access to the website, you deposit your project, and you go through a workflow, which I was told was a bit long. You decide which amount you need. For instance, for a short feature film, you need 7,000 euros. You set the period of fundraising, maximum 90 days, and then there are some returns, as we've seen with Noah's Arks here. It's fairly simple. It's just to save the world. It's as basic as that. So you will decide what will be the returns for those who are supporting you. The return on investment does not exist with us. It's a co-creative process. The first drive is to help a project come true. One of my favorite projects, for instance, is the one that has helped KissKissBankBank to be known. It was a junior journalist at the weekly magazine Le Point in France who said that when he was checking the planet, when you draw a line on the 39th parallel is the area where you have the highest number of towns that have been destroyed by the Second World War. And I've decided to ride my bicycle from Srebrenica to go to Hiroshima on my bicycle to meet with all those towns and people who have been impacted by the Second World War bombing. And I said, you know, it's 15,000 kilometers on a bicycle. It's a long trip. Are you ready to go for such a long journey? And he said, yes, I've been riding my bicycle every day and practiced every day for that. But I need 15,000 euros to make this a success. So he left. And every morning for 2 hours before starting to pedal, once his project was on the platform, he sent out emails, set up a Facebook page, a Twitter account, and he's raised funds as he was riding his bicycle. He came back with 2,000 hours of images. He met a woman on Facebook who came and got his hard disk in China to help him and bring back the copies back home. Then they had a short love story that ended badly, but still. He raised 15,000 euros and made a documentary. He has won many prizes in France and the Web Documentary Prize in Italy. It's a documentary which was then adapted for TV broadcast. And an independent movie theater manager has decided to show his film. So he was with this crazy idea, and now he's recognized by all journalists, and he's better known, but he's also produced a very high-quality web documentary. Another example is Thomas, a farmer in the Greater Paris. He's depressed, he wants to stop, he's not happy with the production yield that is too low. And then he meets La Roche qui dit oui, which is a website, La Ruche qui dit oui, sorry, which is a website for producers and consumers can buy directly the produce from farmers through this website. And I said, go through this, and maybe this community is going to help them. Thomas didn't have any computer, barely knew what the internet was, and he raised 15,000 euros over 2 weeks and bought the tools he needed to make his farm more sustainable. And every day in his village, he would come across people in his village and say, well, I've put 10 euros on your thing, and I've put 15 euros on your thing. And all people in his village whom he didn't really know ended up helping him to set up his project. Another example, just to tell you how far this can go, the Varda family. I suppose you know Agnès Varda, who's a great filmmaker and the wife of Jacques Demy. No, she said there is a need to renovate some of the old films to show them in the Cannes Festival, and we need 30,000 euros. Can we use KissKissBankBank? And we said, well, that's quite rewarding for us to help and contribute to the renovation of old films. They've raised more funds than expected. Close to 50,000 euros, actually. So indeed, you have artists, great artists, well-known artists, and unknown people who will rely on our community of crowdfunders to make their projects come true. So those are the projects. We've been there for 3 years. We were set up in 2010. We've seen some 4,500 projects on our platform, and we've raised more than 8 million euros, 8.5 million euros, with more than 170,000 crowdfunders. Need here to go back in history. At the time when we set up this KissKissBankBank, I was working in a large corporation. I was bored. with a very strict line management. The objective is to take the seat of the one who is above you. And when we resigned, me and two of my friends, to set up this business, people said, why do you want to get this crowdfunding platform? Why would people invest in such ridiculous projects in the time of a crisis? And they just rejected us, their generation, those that have done May 68. And we started to raise funds. Crowdfunding platforms did not exist at that time. We talked about our projects to our friends, and 2 or 3 friends gave us 50,000 euros for the initial feasibility study to see whether it was possible. But we're the only one. Crowdfunding did not exist. Participatory funding did not exist. Then you might say, well, KissKissBankBank is working pretty well, but it's only minor. And Antonin gave you some figures earlier. But platforms such as ours, there are more than 1,000 worldwide. You have those that are making donation to donation. You will get a reward for this. You have Hello Merci, which is a platform where a student, for instance, will have his PhD thesis funded by others and then will pay back once it's achieved. And once the regulatory framework is there, there will be many platforms set up worldwide where you will actually invest in startup companies and become an actual shareholder of these companies. Now, what about this market today? You've heard the figures earlier. I'll broaden the scope. The preliminary studies on this market date back to 2010. More than $1 billion have been raised so far through crowdfunding platforms. No, that was in 2011. In 2012, it was roughly $3 billion, so the market tripled over 2 years, roughly. We will go beyond $6 billion in 2013, so a 200% growth rate. And Forbes magazine, which is an American magazine, plans that crowdfunding will reach the incredible amount of $1,000 billion by 2020. So it means that we were right. We had the right intuition from the beginning. And then there are dozens and thousands of people behind us who think the same thing, is that independent designers and ideas should be funded, and each one is entitled to present his or her project to the public and not wait for the green light of an editor, publishing company, or a bank to actually make your project come true. And that's a drastic change. And to link it up with the collaborative economy we were talking about earlier, one might consider that crowdfunding today is the bank of the collaborative economy, because there's plethora of projects on such platforms that help collaborative economy to grow. And on our platforms, there's not necessarily this idea of return on investment. So what is driving people to put money in these projects? Once again, it's just because they want to help people take their destiny in their hands. We're all fed up with the same singers, the very poor TV programs. We're fed up with American blockbusters, Spider-Man 1, 2, 3, 7, 9, 8. We want to have promote people who really come up with new ideas, and we want them to be supported so that they will be heard or listened to or watched or even read. And I'll give you one figure that I stole in Edgar Morin's book, his book entitled A Voice for Humanity, Une Voix pour l'Humanité in French. In the 70s, 0.01% of the richest of the world were holding 17% of the global GDP. Today, we are in 2013, 40 years down the road. Today, it's 35 to 36%, and soon it will be 40 to 45%, meaning that all creation goes through the same channels. Northern rich countries, the elites in the north, the most prestigious business schools and universities, and everything that is sold is always going back in the pockets of the same people. And this process is accelerating. And it's quite incredible when we are in today's world where there's a wider access to education. Everything is still in the hands of a few handful of people. And our strong belief that is ours and that of other players of collaborative economy is to overcome these obstacles that are putting us in societies that are greedy, individualistic, where the only ways of opening people's chakras and to make sure that lives will change is to use our own creativity, whether it does have an impact on humanity or not. The important thing on the platform is that Mr. and Mrs. Smith will go to fund a picture exhibition, even though this doesn't become the best photographer in the world. The idea is to help somebody who will be making a short feature film, even though it's not Cassavetes. This is going to cause some upheavals in the way we approach new things, new ideas and novelty, and it will help us to take control of our fate and our destiny and not wait passively what is coming out from an organization that is purely marketing and overselling products via the media, and we're the victim of this system. I sound arrogant, but I speak a lot, but I also need to drink. Now, the extraordinary thing about crowdfunding and participatory processes is not only a small farmer, a small filmmaker who's going to raise funds for a single project. There's something that goes beyond it. Initially, when we set up KissKissBankBank, it was just for creative people. But the 3 projects I mentioned earlier as an example, and thousands of others that we've had, is also the relations we've had with those people when they came to visit us or we got them on the phone. It's very emotional because to understand this, you need to understand who gives on those platforms, who puts money on this platform. I'll be exceeding my time. I'm sorry for that. It's always the same thing. When we have a project on our platform, we need to convince people whom we know. If we're unable to convince people whom we know, it means that your project is not really attractive and sexy. So the first one we're going to give usually are your relatives and friends. There will be your ambassadors on the social media, and they will be pitching your project everywhere. And there will be a second circle of people helping you. There are friends of friends, and they're becoming an invisible force that did not exist before the internet, of course. And if the project is really good and solid, the second circuit will have another group of ambassadors, and then the third circuit of people who will be your new community. And this impetus for creativity is such that it is not only making the person who's developed a project busy, but those who have supported your projects have become your ambassadors, and they become obsessed with your project and they promote you, and it helps to boost your self-confidence and your confidence in your community, and it disseminates everywhere. And this self-confidence will help some people who are a bit shy in their projects, in their drawers, to see that their creativity may also be put on such a platform. And it's a very optimistic trend that is disseminated through our platforms. And as a daily adrenaline boost, I have never felt something better, I must say. And when I see those people who are very happy, even those who fail sometimes, are, encouraged by these initiatives. And I think that collaborative economy will be probably one of the seeds that will help change the world and take us away from these terrible times we're locked in, and where we've been locked in for a long time. And hopefully your creativity and our creativity will help change the world so that future generations will live in a more honest and sincere world based on sharing, and will have a different experience of the world, an experience that is better than the one we've gone through. I'll show you one last video before concluding.
Un petit message pour vous dire qu'on est très ému. On a reçu près de 3600.
Just to thank you, we've been given 3,600 euros to finish the ARC. So thank you again from the bottom of our heart. An exceptional donation of 1,000 euros, and the donor will have his name put on the top of the ARC. No, Noah's Ark will be called Michael's Ark. That's stupid. Michael's Ark is a stupid name.
Voilà, donc, encore une fois, juste 3 mots en conclusion.
Now, some concluding words and an important message. Believe in what you're doing. Let your creativity go through and make sure that we will change this gloomy world we're living in at the moment. Thank you.